Hey guys, welcome back to another video of Flying Swine Seasonings. My name's Joe Shaw, and today we're going to do another one of our basics. We're just trying to get out what we normally do with the rubs and how we started, kind of give you guys a backstory and let you know just the basics of how to use our rubs and how we have learned to cook pork butts and ribs and all kinds of other things that we're going to show you as we go along. Today we're doing, like I said, we're doing pork butts, and what I like to do is something that I've seen people kind of do variations of, but I'm just pretty standard with this. I've been doing it for the same way for probably about 10 years or so. And what I like to do is I of course use a binder. Now that binder is usually mustard based, maybe with some other kind of ingredient, but we've got a binder we're testing out and we're going to try and see how these do. We've tried them on some ribs before, turned out pretty good. Help keep the rub on there really easy, but we're going to try it on a pork butt today since it's got a whole lot more fat than the ribs do. Another thing we're doing today is we're trying our newest flavor. It's our whiskey maple, and we just came out with it about a year ago. And so what we're going to do with it is we're going to show you how we prep a pork butt and get that ready to apply the binder, and then we apply the rub. So stay tuned. What I like to do when I first start out with a pork butt, after I pulled it out of the package, I like to put these slices on there. I don't really trim off any of the fat or anything like that. I just make sure that the pork is cold and the knife is sharp and I can get through this pretty easily. I just go just below the layer of fat. I don't really try to get into the meat because I don't want that to be exposed so much as I want this fat to render off in squares. And so I apply the binder, I work it into the grooves in between the squares that I've made, and then later on I'll apply the rub to it. And I get this on all 6 sides. And I make sure that I cover it really well so that the rub will stick to it really, really well. Our rub is bigger granules, so that's kind of an issue sometimes if you don't put a binder on there. It won't really stick to a meat, especially in a long smoke process. So I'll flip it over here, and I'll start with the bottom side first. And then once I get that bottom side done, I'll pack it on there a little bit, and notice that a lot of it's not coming off. And once I get this on the smoker, you'll find that this really holds onto there well and is never really an issue coming off as you're going throughout the smoke. We let the pork butt marinate overnight. Now we're going to put it on the Oklahoma Joe. I let this heat up this morning, got it about 250. It's still below freezing, so I'm gonna make sure that we keep that temperature up. If I want to do 225 cook, then I'm guessing I'll probably have to keep it around 250 just for the fluctuation of temperature. I figured I'd get this thing on. We got tonight is the AFC NFC championships. So we're gonna have some pulled pork for that, see how it turns out. Hopefully it'll be pretty good. I think it'll be all right. This is the first time we're using that binder agent. So we're gonna see how that performs too on a full pork butt. Anyway, let me get this thing unwrapped and we'll get it in there. Not a lot of runoff. I mean, it's a little liquidy, which you would expect because you're using a dry brine on a full piece of pork butt. But in reality, it's not that bad. I wrapped it pretty good. And you kind of want that flavor to sit and marinate anyway. The longer you can do it, the better. If you can do this 2 days in advance, even better. With our rubs, it's not going to create a salty mess. And right now we're just getting a little bit of that juice back on there. I think it'll be all right. Then we'll take this top grill out, top rack out, I should say, out, which that's very hot. That's very hot. Obviously, it's like 250 degrees in there or something. Got the temperature coming back up just as quickly as it went down, so I'm not concerned. This is going to be about an 8 to 10 hour smoke. Probably later on I'm going to put a little bit more of our seasoning on there, of the whiskey maple, just to give it that candy coating, because what's going to happen is you see those squares that I cut on there, what's going to happen is those are going to shrink up. And that's the reason why I do it, is because it shrinks up and it releases the fat a lot faster because it's more surface area. And so because it's releasing that fat, those are going to shrink up and they're going to actually become like little candied squares that you can eat. And so I always call it the smoker's delight, because you get to pull off a pinch of those, eat it, taste it before it's even done being tender and juicy like you want. But it's kind of pretty cool to get that little sneak peek before everybody else does. All right, I'll check back with you guys a little bit later. All right, we're back. We just did a full smoke of the pork butt. Started this morning about 7:30. It finished about 5:30. We went to dinner. I put it in my Yeti lookalike cooler and let it sit in there for about 2 hours. Came home and pulled it out. It was still steaming, extremely hot. I hope it's still hot. We've had it out just trying to get ready for stuff. But anyway, we're gonna try and see if this bone will slide out. Hopefully it does and doesn't make me look like an idiot on camera. Easier said than done. I think it's a clean bone, maybe a little bit sticking to it. Not too bad, but when I temp checked it, it was at 205. So pretty well clean. I mean, it pulled a little bit out with it, but all in all, as you can see, pretty steamy, pretty clean bone. I'd call that clean. I'm gonna grab a pan, grab the pan. We're gonna put these pieces in here. Then I'm gonna put the whole thing in. Now, one of the things I like to do when I've got a whole bunch of pork butts, like if you got a big family get together, family reunion, 4th of July, Memorial Day, whatever, any kind of an occasion where you've got a whole bunch of people and you're wanting to make a whole bunch of pulled pork, what I like to do, and I didn't bring it out here, is I've got a KitchenAid mixer. Now I don't put on the mixing paddles, I put on the dough hook. So I'll take like a chunk, about half of this, and you can see it pulls apart real easy. And instead of having to sit there and shred those all day long and take, you know, forever to get it all shredded just the way you want, I'll put it in there with a dough hook, and then after I put it in and it gets all minced up and pulled, then I'll put it in the pans and then I'll season it with the rubs. I know what you're really here for. You guys want to see the mush. Well, that's pretty mushed and it's still steaming, as you can see. I don't know if the camera picks that up or not, but it's still steaming. It's very hot. I've got several layers of gloves on. I usually wear about 3 pair. See, this just shreds real easy. I hope you guys can see that. This shreds really, really easy. It's no resistance at all. When I put the probe in to check the tenderness and the temp, it was like butter. I mean, it just slid right in and no problems whatsoever. So shred that up, all the rest of it. You guys know the rest. Just pick it up if you can and just put it in there. This is soft as could be. Oh, and I promised you guys one little treat. One little treat, and this is why we do what we do. You guys can see these squares on here. Well, when I cut this up, they were about 1-inch squares. Now they've shrunk down, and as you can see, you just pop them off, and these are candied fat squares. Fat's all reduced out of them, but the rub's stuck, and so now this is what I call the Pitmaster's Delight. So you get to eat these, and nobody else has to even know you had them or that they even exist, but I like to leave a few to put in and mix it in with the rest of the pulled pork. So, oh my gosh. If you guys haven't done that yet, you don't know what you're missing. And for people that cut the fat cap off, oh, I cringe every time I see it. And the only reason why I cringe is because I know how much flavor's in that. Yeah, you're not gonna miss any fat in this thing, but when you can do it and reduce the fat down, and help melt that on into your meat and then mix in your rubs and just whatever. I mean, a lot of people like to sauce it at this stage. Me, I just like to continue mashing it down and pulling it and shredding it. And then I'll put the rest, and I'll try to leave some of the fat on the paper. Anyway, come back. I'll show you guys our pulled pork sliders with some homemade coleslaw, and we'll get after it. Man, this is awesome. I just did the pulled pork with our whiskey maple rub. It's our brand new flavor, but golly, is it good, especially in wintertime with that nice sweet maple flavor. It's got that little bite from the whiskey. I backed it up with a little bit of ginger in there and a little bit of cinnamon to bring out that maple flavor. But right now, man, I'm just dying to get into this. So as you can tell, I mean, this just looks absolutely amazing. Can you get a close-up on this? This is just gorgeous. And so I got some homemade coleslaw in there, a little bit of rice wine vinegar. Sometimes I use apple cider vinegar. And then I put some mayonnaise, black pepper, a little honey in it. Oh, it's so good. Some fell off. All right, before I get going, I'm gonna cut some off here. And I'm gonna try one of these. I am just, golly, we went out to dinner and I'm still wanting to try some of this stuff. So, let me grab a bite here. Oh my gosh. It's even better. I bought some little slider brioche buns. It is absolutely amazing. That maple and the sweetness from the brioche, I thought they'd kind of blend together, but they really don't, because these buns are just so light and airy. I really get a lot of that maple flavor in there. Oh my gosh. I am going to probably make myself way too full. Guys, I just want to say thank you very much for watching the videos. Thank you for all the people that go out there and they buy our rubs and seasonings. Once again, you can find us on FlyingSwineSeasonings.com. Look us up on our Facebook page, same name, Instagram, same name. And just go to our webpage if you guys want to order some. We fulfill all of our orders ourselves, so you guys don't have to go out anywhere else and wonder about who's doing it. We're the beginning, the end on this stuff. So we want you guys to just give us a shout out, leave a comment if there's some recipe that you want to know. We have lots of them that we're going to do. This is just the beginning. And once again, I want to say a shout out to my buddy Justin for helping me, Baby Back Maniac, inspiring me to get this stuff going. And I'm really thrilled that we're doing it. Really happy that we could bring this to you guys. And just let us know, and we'll see you on the next video.